In pursuit of happiness, 3 inhabitants from 3 different eras make the house the center of their existence. But do they get what they desire? Mabel sits in front of her dollhouse. The window in front of her is open, flooding the room with light. Surrounded by pastel hues, the little girl is busy playing with her dolls when a woman calls out to her. It's her mother. In the living room, there is a man crouching in front of the fireplace. He is setting up the fire. Mabel kneels beside her father as the pair watch the flames go up. Raymond drapes his hand lovingly over her shoulders. The house is modest, but it is warm. They are expecting guests. Her father is clearly not pleased at this. A carriage pulls up in front of the yellow brick building. Raymond alerts his wife that they have arrived, but they are not pleased. They are here to see the baby. Mabel stands next to her baby sister's crib as they cram into the attic to get a look. Isabel is cooing at the strangers, who seem to be disappointed that Raymond and Penny had another girl. Back in the living room, the guests sit facing Raymond and his wife, demeaning them. The elderly woman is the most vicious. She takes digs at Raymond, reminds him of his father, who gambled away everything. It is not long before she manages to get under his skin. It's dark now. Raymond wanders through the forest alone. He is drunk, drowning in self-loathing and anger. He is muttering to himself in a drunken amnesia. His bladder has been complaining after his drinking spree. He stops by a tree. That is when something extraordinary happens. In the dark forest, there appears to be a source of light. Flickering at first, it slowly grows into a steady glow. An inebriated Raymond turns around, just to find a carriage standing in a clearing nearby. There are no horses to be seen. There is someone inside, a man. He is looking out of the window, from behind the glass pane. He is laughing. It has Raymond in a trance. Drawn like a moth to a flame, Raymond approaches the mysterious fixture. Raymond seems to be oblivious about his surroundings. He is walking straight into the coupe. The light glows brighter with every step, beckoning him forward. Raymond walks into the carriage and the door shuts behind him. When Raymond comes back that night, he looks like a madman. He is babbling to himself, shaking like he is having a fit. Penny tries to calm him down, but he won't listen. He keeps saying that everything will be different now, and asks his wife to bring him wine. She hesitates. This behavior is unlike Raymond. She fetches a glass of wine, but before she can give it to him, he passes out at the table. The next morning, a stranger arrives. He works for the famous architect, Mr. Van Schoonbeek, and is here to finalize their new house. Penny hesitates. They can't afford such a thing. Her husband must have been carried away. But she is in for a surprise. The house is a present from Van Schoonbeek, who was a friend of Raymond's father. It will be magnificent and absolutely free of charge. The only condition: the family must move into the new house. It is a brilliant morning. Sun rays filter in through the branches as the family makes the journey up the hill. They are moving into their new house today. Mr. Thomas welcomes them in. He takes them through the house, pointing out the immaculate design, ornate windows, multitude of closets and rooms. The adults are taken aback by the luxury. Finally, they arrive at the withdrawing room, designed with a fireplace as the centerpiece and plush furniture to match the green-tinged walls. This room forms the epicenter of the house. As her parents seem to get more and more engrossed in the finesse of the house, Mabel feels something is amiss. Her parents don't notice when she slips out of dinner that night with Isabel. As days slip into nights, and nights into days, Raymond and Penny seem to drift farther and farther away from reality. Raymond is fixated with the idea of lighting an actual fire in the fireplace, while Penny sews more and more curtains. Mabel often finds herself catching glimpses of men, carpenters and builders working in the house. They stare at her with hollow eyes. They never speak. Mabel is wary of these men. Decked in garish costumes sent by Van Schoonbeek, Raymond and Penny seem to be in a hypnotic trance. Raymond throws family heirlooms, his chair, and even his daughter's doll house into the fire that would not burn with ordinary wood. Penny has her head pressed to the table as she keeps sewing. Mabel is left to traverse the house alone, Isabel in her arms. The 9-year-old comes across strange incidents, men with dead eyes and spooky sounds. She needs to protect her baby sister, but one night, things go overboard. Alone in the corridors of the huge mansion, Mabel gets lost. Carrying Isabel in her arms, she tries helplessly to navigate the house, but to no avail. The dark halls all look the same. There is no one to answer her cries. Her parents are lost in their own minds. Helpless and now panicking, she finds Mr. Thomas. But the man is a fraction of his usual self. He is distraught. Sitting on the floor, he is crying. He is just an actor, following Van Schoonbeek's script. He is now at his breaking point. He cannot do this anymore. The house is driving him crazy. Mabel runs and takes Isabel with her. The house has turned itself into a maze. They cannot find their parents. Mabel does not know what to do. Then, something happens. Mabel stumbles upon the room with the fireplace. Her parents must be inside. She goes in, looking for them. The room is empty except for furniture. The chair starts speaking. It is Raymond. He is trapped inside the chair, facing the fireplace. Mabel is astounded. The curtain is speaking too. It's her mother. Mabel does not know what to do. Her parents are trapped into the furniture, while her infant sister clings to her. The fire is growing. Soon, it will be out of the fireplace, burning down everything in its path. The parents tell Mabel to leave, but she hesitates. Her parents are trapped in the house. She cannot leave them behind. However, Mabel must protect Isabel at all costs. As her mother lowers the curtains through the window, Mabel starts climbing down. She finally reaches the ground. The fire is raging inside. She knows her parents are trapped, but she must keep walking. The sun is rising on the horizon. Mabel turns back to see the magnificent house on the hill. It is now at a distance, smoke rising from its windows. Mabel takes one last look at the house and keeps walking. Act 2. It is the same house, but it is not a solitary structure on the hilltop anymore. It stands squarely on a street, surrounded by other houses. Someone is talking in the basement. It is a rat. He is wearing cargo pants, with a harness around his waist. There are toolkits hanging from it. He is talking to someone on the phone. His work table has a laptop on it. It looks like he is living in his office. On the wall, there is a blueprint of the house and a number of bills due to be paid. The contractor does not seem to be doing well. He needs to call the bank for a loan. He is sure that he can sell the house. The appliances arrive. The contractor installs everything by himself. He looks beaten. Adding to the unending troubles are the occasional bugs he finds scurrying around the corners. It is a lonely life. He calls someone to describe his progress. He is hopeful about bagging a buyer in the viewing. The contractor in his yellow jacket talks about taking a vacation in the Maldives when all of this is over. But the bliss does not last long. As he hangs up, he hears chittering. His ears perk up at the sound. He steps forward and opens the kitchen cupboard to find the most horrifying sight for a property developer: insects. Swarms of bugs and worms festering in the darkness. He starts spraying insecticides around the house. He has slipped into debt trying to make this house habitable. It cannot fail now. It takes hours, but he does the job. This is the biggest day of his life. The cooking supplies have just been delivered. He will make canapes, serve champagne. He will sweep the buyers off their feet. Buyers will fall over themselves to buy the place. This is his day. Or is it? He has been delivered someone else's food. 3 bags full of ready-to-eat noodles and energy drinks. He is exasperated. The contractor stands at the patio, dressed in his best suit. He practices his greetings. He is nervous, and this reflects on the event. Potential buyers roam around the house. Everyone finds something they don't like. The layout is confusing. The furnishings aren't sturdy, the taps are not the best. None of the rats that descend on the house seem to be intent on buying it. The contractor is faltering. The kitchen equipment malfunctions. A rogue child is smearing ice cream on the huge aquarium, ruining the central showpiece. He needs to get his act together, but fate won't have it. His phone malfunctions, leaving the house in a throbbing mess of loud music and multicolored lights gone haywire. His guests leave. There is not a single offer which he can count upon. The carpets and fittings have been damaged. He feels himself slipping into a vortex of gloom. There is one client left, a stout husband and his extremely tall wife. They repeat over and over that they are extremely interested in the house, but they don't act on the statement. Instead, something else happens. The move into the house. The couple sleeps in the master bedroom, uses the washroom and turns the contractor into their valet. They don't plan to leave. He is in debt. Nobody is buying the house he has worked so hard for, and now he has squatters to deal with. He is losing his mind. In a fit of madness, he tries to attack the squatters with insecticide, but it backfires like everything else. He wakes up to find himself in the hospital, creditors blowing up his phone. There is someone out to get him. The squatter couple. He returns to the house, only to find it infested with their kins. Mayhem descend on the house over time. Rats start acting like themselves. They chew through everything: wires, cushions, carpets. The house disintegrates into a dump all over again. Act 3. The house stands alone, as it once did, a long time ago. But this time, its surroundings are flooded. The house is an island, in the endless water all around it. Inside, Rosa, the cat, looks at her planning board and sighs. It is littered with renovation plans for the house, samples of wallpapers, lists of material, and a plethora of knickknacks. She has a vision for the house, but that won't materialize if her tenants don't pay her. Rosa gathers her supplies. She is working in the corner room upstairs today. She has picked a beautiful patterned wallpaper. As she prepares the pasting solution, she notices that the water from the tap is brown again. Rolls of paper are mounted on the walls. Rosa finishes pasting them and looks at her handiwork proudly. The room already looks better, except one corner, the paper is drooping down. And just like that, all the panels start coming off. Rosa frantically drags the ladder across the room, trying to hold it all together, but it's of no use. The wallpaper cascades off the walls. Her work is ruined. Elias looks nervous about rent. He hasn't paid in 3 months, and Rosa won't take fish anymore. To keep the house running, she needs money. Elias promises to pay this month. It's Jen's turn next. She is dancing to mystical music in her apartment and does not notice Rosa come in. She is the second of Rosa's only 2 remaining tenants. After a fish from Elias, Rosa is offered a crystal as rent. She cannot make her ends meet if this goes on. Rosa knows the task at hand is tough, but she cannot get over the potential of the house. She wants to see it in all its glory and live in it. Until then, it is a lonely toil. The next morning, she is woken by a humming. She goes to investigate. It is a large ginger cat. Standing next to the house, Jen and Elias is his audience. When he finishes, they clap enthusiastically. This is Cosmos, Jen's boyfriend. He has come to live with Jen, and his stay does not seem to be a time-bound affair. He pitches a tent outside the house, and to Rosa's surprise, he even agrees to help mend the house. That night, they treat themselves to a small party. Jen and Elias dance to Cosmos's instrument. Rosa joins in. The water outside keeps rising. The next morning, Rosa wakes up to find an entire corridor gone. Cosmos and Elias have plucked the floorboards. Rosa is livid. They live in her house, pay no rent, and now this. She wants accountability, but they are her friends. She fails to be rude. But then it hits her. They are making a boat for Elias. He is leaving. The water levels are rising. They cannot live here any longer. Jen and Cosmos will be here for now, but eventually they will leave too. Rosa is crestfallen. She lays on her bed, contemplating her life. They are her friends. This house has been her dream. She has given it all that she could. And yet, the inhabitants are leaving, and the water is threatening to flood the house. She feels her life crumbling. She gets to work. This is her escape, the house. She finishes pasting wallpaper. It looks welcoming. Elias leaves, while Rosa is asleep. He didn't come to say goodbye, but he has left something. A note, a fish, and drawings. Drawings of Rosa, smiling, having a meal with Jen, happy. She feels a pang of sadness. Jen is preparing to leave too, and she wants to have one last lunch with her. The future of the house is dubious, but like so many before her, she is trapped. She won't let go of the house. If it goes down, she will go down with it. But she is different. Unlike her predecessors, Rosa breaks the chain. So when the house is flooded with mist and the water level rises, she knows what she has to do. Cosmos and Jen have left in their boat, and Rosa wants to follow them. She does not want the house anymore. That does the trick. The house finally comes to the rescue of its resident. Rosa pushes the lever only to realize the house can float. It is a ship. It can take her anywhere she wants. She is finally free. Flanked by her friends, Rosa starts on her journey to happiness, and this time, the house doesn't fight back.